Horchata is a very classic, it's one of those things that nobody has ever heard of unless they spent some time in Mexico, but it's ubiquitous in Mexico. It's a very, very popular drink. It's made from rice, but it's made from raw rice, so it's not as cloying as something that would be made from cooked rice. And so what I did last night actually to prepare for this is I put 2.5 cups of hot water with about 2/3 of a cup of rice. And then I added 6 ounces of almonds. And before I added the almonds, I blanched them. And it's a very easy thing to do. I bought raw almonds, I stuck them in a bowl, and I poured boiling water over them. Let them sit for a couple of minutes, and before I knew it, I could just kind of pinch the almonds, and that brown skin would come right off. And so you don't want that brown skin in this recipe. So I added the 6 ounces of almonds, 2/3 cup of rice, 2.5 cups of hot water, and a cinnamon stick. And I let that sit overnight. If I smell it, it smells exactly like rice pudding to me. And so it's
which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this in this blender. And you can see all those almonds there.
I was reading this recipe last night as well, and Rick was mentioning that almonds isn't a traditional ingredient for this, but his favorite restaurant in Mexico does, so that's where he got the
In
idea.
Oaxaca. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar to that.
Does that have the rice in there?
It's got the rice in there and it's got the almonds in there, and we are going to pretty much just puree this until it's a liquid that, till all that, the product is not whole anymore. You should kind of just feel a grittiness on your fingers if you were to touch it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now.
Nice and thick.
Okay, I still can see a few clumps, so I'm going to give it another go.
You need to make a silent blender for things like this. There's a carafe of horchatas in cups and a bin of ice in the back there. Anyone wants to help themselves to one.
Okay, so now, obviously to have a beverage that you're going to drink, you don't want these clumps that are left in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the whole thing through a sieve, which is just a really fine mesh strainer. If you don't have a fine mesh strainer, you can also use cheesecloth in a standard strainer or a sieve like this to make it even thinner. And so I'm going to pour that in there. And I'm just going to move my ladle over it, and you can see the liquid is coming out of that.
Yeah, looks like milk. We made a batch before earlier, so we would have some so you could try it while we did it. And it made me think and wonder if this is how they make, and this must be how they make rice milk, like Rice Dreams rice milk. It'd be very easy and very, very inexpensive to make yourself.
The factory's a lot bigger.
So I'm basically going to just keep pushing this through until I get all the liquid through. And once I do that, I'm going to add 2 more cups of water to that just to get the right texture and right consistency. And once again, this makes a great refreshing drink. It tastes exactly like rice pudding. And for those of you, any opinions here on those? For those of you who've already tasted it?
Yeah.
I like it really cold too. Lots of ice.
Should I keep going with this, Bud? I'm going to
Sure,
make
if
it
you
a
want.
little more finely ground.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Wait to turn the blender on for that.
Do you include the whole cinnamon stick, or do you take it out and very quickly?
Left the whole cinnamon stick in. Yeah. He recommends using a long or medium grain white rice, raw,
We use humble bends.
just in a big bowl, soaked overnight with cinnamon. I've never made it with almonds before, so this was an interesting recipe to me. I like it. It made, the texture of it is a little more, of the rice that's pureed has a little bit more of a paste in it, I think, from the almonds. It's a nice flavor. What do you think, Jerry? Have you ever made it with almonds, Jerry?
No, we use toasted rice and toasted sesame seeds.
Oh, yum. Sesame seeds would be good as well.
And what I really like about this recipe as well as mine is a lot of horchata uses a milk base.
He says you can try that for, you know, a silkier texture, but
Like you can get a mix like they may use in a Mexican restaurant, and I think it's cheating. I think you should be able to make a delicious beverage that doesn't have any milk.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ones. A lot of Mexican restaurants in the States that have them, they are made from a syrup like Coca-Cola and those things are made. And it's really, really sweet and it's not as nice. It's making your own, it definitely is vastly better. I think it has better flavor and it's not as sweet, which is a very nice thing.
All right, I sprinkled that one with a little cinnamon. Rick Bayless says that one of the classical preparations includes adding some cactus to it, which gives it a kind of a pink color, as well as garnishing it with cucumber, with pieces of cucumber, cantaloupe, or with broken up pecans. And so I personally prefer it with just a little sprinkle of cinnamon. But there we have it, horchata de almendra.